folks, welcome to PPG Photography and Media. Today we're going to be taking a look at this image from a shoot that I did a few months back, and I'm going to show you my editing tutorial for how I'm going to create it. Now, looking at this image, I know exactly what I'm wanting to do. I want to get a nice Gothic Fairytale vibe. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the panel on the right here, and I'm going to adjust the contrast because I'm going to want to bring some shadows back and darken up the darker parts of the image. So we'll just do that just now. And then we'll push the highlights and the whites, bring a little bit of texture and clarity. I want to brighten it up just a little bit, so I'm going to push the dehaze towards the whites and then bump up the saturation and vibrance a little. Okay, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come down to the curves tool here, and we're going to just make some slight adjustments. We want to bring a little bit more darkness into the darker side of the image, but we're going to try and bring a bit more light to the lighter side also, just to equally balance it. And one thing I like to do with the curves tool is I like to bring the darker side of the image up just a little bit, because it gives the image a nice vintage feel to it. And once we've done that with the RGB, we're going to go through specific colours. We'll do the same with the red. I'm going to bring the red down just a little bit in both the darker side of the image and the lighter side, but I'm also going to bring it up just to keep that vintage feel. Then I'm going to come to the green. I'm just going to move the green up just a little bit, and then we're going to go to the blues, and we're going to do a similar adjustment as we did with the reds. Okay, now next what we're going to do is we're going to come to the colour slider here. Now specifically for this image we're going to be focusing on the colours orange, green and blue, but I like to go through every single one just to make sure I'm not missing anything. Specifically we're going to adjust the orange slider for the ground just to make that stand out just a little bit more. The greens are going to emphasise more of the greenery at the sides of the image and a little bit of the dress, and then we're going to use blues to push the overall feel of the image and the mist in the background. Specifically I'm going to lighten up the blues just to brighten the image up behind her a little bit. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make subtle changes to the shadows and the highlights in the image. I don't personally like to make too much of a change, so I'm just going to bump up the saturation just a little bit of each. I'm going to bring the blues in the shadows, and I'm going to bring just a little bit of warmth to the image with the highlights. Then I'm going to make a little bit of change to the noise reduction. I'm going to introduce just a little bit of grain again just to keep that vintage feel of the image, and then a little bit of vignetting at the side just to darken up the sides of the image. Next what I'm going to do is I'm going to come straight back up, and I'm going to select the graduated filter, and I'm going to put a filter at each side of the model. I'm going to select shadow, then I'm going to push those shadows just to really make it feel like just closed into a tight space. Then I'm going to take another graduated filter, and I'm going to add it above her head, and I'm going to select temp this time, and I'm going to adjust it just so it feels like the sun is just trying to break through that mist just above her head. Next we're going to select brush, and then we're going to select soften the light, and then we're going to just go straight to her face, and we're going to make some subtle changes just to soften the skin texture on her face there. This will help us stand out even though we're quite far away. Then afterwards we're going to select a new brush, we're going to select Iris Enhance, and then we're just going to help her eyes stand out just a little bit more. The exposure on this one's a little too high, so we're just going to bring it down just a little bit to help that blend in so it doesn't look quite as abstract or as alien-like. If you have a look at the image here, you can see that the model's feeling very flat against the background. We want her to stand out a little bit, so we're going to come over to the brush tool, we're going to select exposure, then we're going to select the entire model. You could also do this in Photoshop, but we're working in Lightroom, so this is how I would do it personally. So we're going to select the entire model, and I'll just fast forward through this so you can see it properly. Once you've done that, you want to make any tiny little adjustments that you need to. Then you want to go through your exposure and contrast to help blend the image in so she doesn't stand out too much. So the next thing I'm going to do is I want to create fairies that are floating around this mystic forest. So to do that, rather than going into Photoshop and photoshopping fairies into it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the brush tool, push the feather up, select exposure, and then I'm going to dot little glowing orbs just around the area within a nice variety of sizes to make them feel like they're off in the distance or they're close to the camera. Then I'm going to select another brush tool. Tell a lie, before you do that, what you want to do is you want to adjust the temperature to get the colour of the glow that you want to achieve. Then I'm going to go and select the brush tool again, push the exposure as far as I can, and I'm going to add little dots in the middle of each of the orbs to make it feel like that's where the glow is originating from. After you've done that, it's just little tweaks with exposure contrast just to get your final image, and there you have it. And there we have our before, and now we have our after. Okay, let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, don't forget to like, subscribe and share. I would really appreciate it. I love the support. Hope you guys are staying safe out there, and you have a great day. Catch you in the next one.